Let's continue in the Tafsir of Surat Al-Kahf. Perhaps we'll finish the surah tonight. And so the author says, starting with the word of God Almighty, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم وتركنا بعضهم يومئذ يموج في بعض. And we will make the humans and genies on that day when they exit the graves crowd each other, run into each other and bump into each other. Because that's the day when all the humans and all the genies will be in attendance. From the first ones until the last ones, all on the same day. Or it could be interpreted to be in reference to Gog and Magog, which we just finished their story with Dhul Qarnayn right before that. Then it would mean we make وَتَرَكْنَا بَعْضَهُمْ, we make some of them. So the Arabic وَتَرَكْنَا بَعْضَهُمْ, we تركنا means جعلنا, تركنا جعلنا, we make. وَتَرَكْنَا بَعْضَهُمْ, we make some of them. Who's them? So according to the tafsir we have, it's the humans and genies. يَوْمَئِذٍ, on that day, يَمُوجُ فِي بَعْضٍ, on that day when they exit their graves, يَمُوجُ فِي بَعْضٍ, crowd each other and bump into each other. Or بَعْضَهُمْ, some of them means the people of Gog and Magog. يَوْمَئِذٍ, on that day, the day when they breach the wall. يَمُوجُ فِي بَعْضٍ, also run into each other, with the meaning of that there are just so many of them coming all together. So they just like all together, coming from all directions, coming down every hill. وَنُفِخَ فِي الصُّورِ فَجَمَعْنَاهُمْ جَمْعًا, and the horn shall be blown into, yani it shall be blown, and the horn shall be blown. فَجَمَعْنَاهُمْ جَمْعًا, and we will have assembled them all, a complete assembly at the same time and place. So because of this part of the ayah, this is all ayah 99, that's why in the translation we just took the saying that it's on Judgment Day, for the coherence between those two sentences, those two meanings. وَعَرَضْنَا جَهَنَّمَ يَوْمَئِذٍ لِلْكَافِرِينَ عَرْضًا, and we shall display hell on that day to the blasphemers with an observed display, which is what's mentioned in Surat Al-Fajr. وَجِيءَ يَوْمَئِذٍ بِجَهَنَّمَ, when a portion of hell shall be brought forth, being pulled by over 1 billion angels. And the people will see that. The kuffar will see that, and they will be horrified. الذين كانت أعينهم في غطاء عن ذكري, those whose eyes were under a cover, blinded from remembering my dhikr, my Quran. وكانوا لا يستطيعون سمعا, and they used to be unable to accept what they heard. وَكَانُوا لَا يَسْتَطِيعُونَ سَمْعًا, and they were unable to hear. Any hearing. They were incapable of any hearing. سَمْعًا, any hearing. So as if to say they are blind and deaf. And as you know, that's not the real literal blindness and deafness. That's the inward blindness and deafness. That kafir person, he can see what's around him with his eyes and he can hear sounds, but he can't see the guidance. So he won't be guided, even if it's right in front of him. and he won't hear the guidance, although the sound is going into his ear. And also in other ayahs, Allah puts a cover over their hearts so they don't comprehend the guidance. أَفَحَسِبَ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا أَن يَتَّخِذُوا عِبَادِي مِن دُونِي أَوْلِيَاءَ. Have those who disbelieved reckoned that taking slaves of mine as gods instead of me is good for them? إِنَّا أَعْتَدْنَا جَهَنَّمَ لِلْكَافِرِينَ نُزُلًا. Surely we have prepared hell for the blasphemers as an accommodation. Yani, so that's a figure of speech. The nuzul is what is prepared for the guests. The nuzul is what's prepared for the guests, the doif. إِنَّا أَعْتَدْنَا جَهَنَّمَ لِلْكَافِرِينَ نُزُلًا. Indeed, we have prepared hell for the kafirs as a nuzul. So that's a figure of speech. And this is a threat of severe torture. قُلْ هَلْ نُنَبِّئُكُمْ بِالْأَخْسَرِينَ أَعْمَالًا. Say, Muhammad, should we inform you about the greatest losers whose deeds are in vain? Subhanallah wa bihamdi. That's what we don't want to be. Someone who's doing something, and what he does is fruitless and meaningless and worthless. الذين ضل سعيهم في الحياة الدنيا. Those whose striving in the earthly life is all for naught. Yani, it's worthless. ضل سعيهم. Their striving is all in vain. They're striving in the dunya. وهم يحسبون أنهم يحسنون صنعا. While they reckon that they are doing something worthwhile and rewardable. Should we inform you about the greatest losers? Al-Akhsarin, the greatest losers in their deeds. Those whose striving is worthless and they think they are doing something worthwhile. Time wasters. أولئك الذين كفروا بآيات ربهم ولقائه. Those they disbelieved in the signs of their Lord's oneness. And in encountering his judgment, liqa'ihi, encountering his judgment. Very literally, one might translate that as, and meeting him. They disbelieve in the signs of their Lord and in meeting him or encountering him. This is encountering his judgment. فَحَبِطَتْ أَعْمَالُهُمْ فَلَا نُقِيمُ لَهُمْ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ وَزْنًا. فَحَبِطَتْ أَعْمَالُهُمْ. Thus their deeds are null, are invalid. Their deeds are حَبِطَتْ, invalid. فَلَا نُقِيمُ لَهُمْ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ وَزْنًا. And we shall not grant them on resurrection day any significance. We shall not give them any status of any good status. They have no miqdar, no level, no rank of highness. If that's their case on Yawm al-Qiyamah, that's also their case now in the dunya. They're going to be on resurrection day like that because that's how they are now. The one who is noble to Allah Ta'ala in this dunya, he will be noble to Allah in the afterlife. And the one who is worthless to Allah Ta'ala in this dunya, he will be worthless in the afterlife. ذلك جزاؤهم جهنم بما كفروا. That invalidity of their deeds is their recompense, hell, for the blasphemy that they have committed. Yani, ذلك جزاؤهم. That is their payment. What is it? Jahannam, hell. Jaza'uhum is Jahannam. Bima kafaru, for the blasphemy that they have committed. وَاتَّخَذُوا آيَاتِي وَرُسُلِي هُزُوًا. And they took my verses and my messengers as a joke. إِنَّ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ كَانَتْ لَهُمْ جَنَّاتُ الْفِرْدَوْسِ نُزُلًا. Surely those who believed and did righteous deeds, there shall be for them gardens of paradise as an accommodation. Khalidina fiha, dwelling forever therein. Khalidin, they are immortals therein. La yabghuna anha hiwala, not seeking from it any relocation, not wanting to exit the garden, to go out of Al-Jannah for any reason at any time. Once they go inside of that Jannah, they never want to come out of there, and they don't come out of there. قل لو كان البحر مدادا لكلمات ربي لنفد البحر. Say, O Muhammad, had the sea been ink for writing expressions referring to the eternal speech of my Lord, the sea would be depleted before, meaning without any depletion of my Lord's speech. قبل أن تنفد كلمات ربي. So, قل لو كان البحر مدادا لكلمات ربي. Say, had the sea been ink for the, so very literally, had the sea been ink for the words, that's plural, of my Lord. So the sea, that's creation. And had that sea been ink, that's creation. And then that ink, whatever it writes upon, whatever surface it's writing upon, that's a creation. And whatever words that ink scripts, that's a creation. And what that created script would be referring to is something not created, the speech of Allah. So kalimat, even though that's a plural, the word kalimat here refers to the speech of Allah, and his speech is one speech. So the speech of Allah, you can call it kalamullah, al-kalam, kalamuhu, his speech. You can call God's speech kalam, speech, and you can call it al-kalima, the word of God. Though some of our sheikhs, they don't accept to say it in English. So just so that you know, maybe you're hearing me say it, and maybe you're going to hear some teachers say you can't say it. So that's what they say. And also al-kalimat, you can call the kalam of Allah kalimat. That would mean words, if you translate it literally, but refers to the eternal speech. قل لو كان البحر مدادا لكلمات ربي. Say, Muhammad, had the sea been ink for the words of my Lord. Yani, so We made the translation very clear, so it doesn't seem like the speech of Allah is something created. Had the sea been ink for writing expressions referring to the eternal speech of my Lord, la nafid al-bahr, the sea would be depleted. قبل أن تنفد كلمات ربي, before any depletion of my Lord's speech. Before my Lord's speech, before my Lord's words, very literally, before my Lord's words would deplete or run out. And before here doesn't mean that they would run out. So it means they don't run out. Before here does not mean it will run out, the words of his Lord, the speech of his Lord. It just means that that ink that's writing is going to run out. But the speech of his Lord does not exhaust. So before, qabl here means without. قبل أن تنفد كلمات ربي, without any depletion of my Lord's speech. ولو جئنا بمثله مددا, even if we came with another sea for a refill, that would run out also. And then there's another ayah in the Quran, Surat Luqman, had there been 7 seas, they would run out. And the speech of Allah would not exhaust. That's because his speech is the eternal, everlasting attribute of his. It is not possible to quantify what is eternal in written expressions. Just like it's not possible to write everything that God knows. And it's not possible to write everything that's subject to God's power. Because the possibilities that are subject to his power are limitless. Likewise, it's not possible to write everything that God says with his eternal speech, which is one speech that does not change. قُلْ إِنَّمَا أَنَا بَشَرٌ مِثْلُكُمْ. Say, O Muhammad, I am but a human like you. So that's a proof that he's not made from light. Some people said Muhammad is made of light, or they said his soul is made of light. If Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam were made of light, then he would not be a human like us. So he's a human like us, even to the extent that he is created from the fluids of his parents. The people who believe that Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is made of light, they say, no, this ayah doesn't mean he's a human like us. Continue reading. Yuha ilay. It is revealed to me. I get revelation. They would say, do you get revelation? You're going to say, no, I don't get revelation. They're going to say, so see, he's not a human like you. So for those people, the meaning of this ayah is, I am not a human like you because I get revelation. That's what's going to happen to you if you're a misguided person. You're going to interpret the ayah by the exact opposite meaning of what's intended there. قُلْ إِنَّمَا أَنَا بَشَرٌ مِثْلُكُمْ يُوحَى إِلَيَّ. Say, I am but a human like you. I am a human. I am merely, إِنَّمَا, I'm merely a human like you. مِثْلُكُمْ, not بِخِلَافِكُمْ, doesn't say أَنَا بَشَرٌ لَيْسَ مِثْلَكُمْ, I'm a human unlike you. That's their interpretation. أَنَا بَشَرٌ مِثْلُكُمْ, I am a human like you. يُوحَى إِلَيَّ, it is revealed to me. يُوحَى إِلَيَّ أَنَّمَا إِلَهُكُمْ إِلَهٌ وَاحِدٌ. It is revealed to me that your God is but one God. So he is a human like us, and he gets revelation, but he's still a human like us. فمن كان يرجو لقاء ربه فليعمل عملا صالحا. So whoever was hoping for the reward upon encountering the judgment of his Lord, then let him do righteous deeds. That is, let him do righteous deeds sincerely. فَمَنْ كَانَ يَرْجُو, whoever had raja. Raja can mean hope. That's when you are wishing for something. And raja can mean fear, being afraid of something. So this ayah can be and has been interpreted both ways. فَمَنْ كَانَ يَرْجُو لِقَاءَ رَبِّهِ, anyone who was hopeful for the reward, for the liqa of his Lord. So if it means hopeful, means he's hoping for the reward, for the reward. And yani liqa rabbihi means the judgment of his Lord. Anyone who is hopeful for the judgment of his Lord means hopeful for the reward from his Lord. And it's possible that liqa here means seeing. Seeing. Then it would mean anyone who's hoping to see his Lord. So it means he has to die as a believer to achieve that. Then what? فَلْيَعْمَلْ عَمَلًا صَالِحًا, then let him do righteous deeds. Let him do good deeds sincerely. Believe in Allah and His Messenger, perform all His prayers, and do Sunnah prayers, and make up any missing prayers, and fast, and do optional fasting, and make up any missed fasting, and give charities, whether openly or secretly, but as long as it's done sincerely, and make dhikr, and do other good deeds like smiling at the believer and pardoning others, and other good deeds, supporting the da'wah efforts. فَلْيَعْمَلْ عَمَلًا صَالِحًا, then let him do righteous deeds. وَلَا يُشْرِكْ بِعِبَادَةِ رَبِّهِ أَحَدًا, and let him not associate in the worship of his Lord anyone. Let him not be insincere. Let him do his worship for the sake of his Lord only. Sadaqallahu al-azim. That's the end of Surah Al-Kahf.